pineal gland actually produces short wavelength radiation, and it's not harmful to us or animals or anything on this planet, but the closer you are together, the more metaphysically powerful it is. And that doesn't mean that we have to be like crammed inside a tuna can, but it just represents the proximity of the mind and the consciousness working together can affect an entire planet, if not neighboring planetary bodies. And
they knew this scientifically?
Yes.
Okay. So Corey, this seems to raise a lot of questions about mass consciousness effects, and what are your feelings about how the cabal has been aware of this and is using this knowledge?
Well, I mean, as I've stated many times, the power of our co-creative consciousness, they want to keep us unaware of, because that is their true power. They manipulate us and our collective consciousness to cause things to happen in real time in our world. And their magic is not really that true of a magic. It is just manipulating us to make things happen with our co-creative consciousness.
Heather, did you ever hear anything like that from these conversations?
Yeah, well, just talking to my father one-on-one, we would have discussions about things like this.
Really?
And one of the things that we did discuss, and I have noticed over the years, there's a lot of distractions to keep us from being in touch with the power that we have in our DNA and the organ, the pineal gland. That organ is tremendously important. It has been just very surveyed over in medical science. Students are not learning about it. There's a reason for that. When I first started reading about the pineal gland and the power that it holds for us, I asked my dad questions.
Oh.
And I wasn't too surprised that he knew about it, knew exactly what I was talking about. I'm glad you're reading that, because that's a very important organ that they are going to distract you from. There's a lot of distractions all the time, politically, in the economy, and environmentally.
So Corey, did you hear about the pineal gland while you were working in the SSP?
Yes, definitely. And
I've never heard about it actually generating low-frequency radiation before.
Anything that emanates from it is going to be radiation.
Right.
You know, it's something radiating from it. And when I was looking at this smart glass pad, we're talking like 30 years ago. So there's a lot of stuff, fine detailed, that, you know, I was not into pineal gland stuff, but they did talk about measuring effects from a distance from the pineal gland of different things radiating from that point in the body.
What does it do, though? I mean, if we're generating this radiation, so what? What's the difference?
That organ is really important both spiritually and with the rest of the cosmic space that we live in.
Okay.
It's not just earthbound. It's a communication device as well as an awareness device. And without it, there would be a tremendous amount of things that we'd never become aware of. It is the foundation of consciousness. It's a communicator, but there are so many things that the pineal gland is purposely exposed to in order to basically pipe down the functionality, if not completely turn off its functionality.
I think what you just said, and I want to clarify this, the things that it's being exposed to, you mean things that our military-industrial complex or cabal, or whatever we want to call them, are deliberately creating to try to suppress its function? Is that correct?
I have a co-worker and a friend who used to work for the water department.
Fluoride.
And he told me about how much sodium fluoride he had to add to the system. And that over the years that he worked there, and he worked there for, I want to say, a couple of decades, over that time, they just kept adding more and adding more. And this is right at home in the Houston area. But it's not just Houston. It's all over the U.S.
So let me just add something that I think is relevant here in case you watching this don't already know this. My research has showed that the interior of the pineal gland is water, but that there are small crystals in there, and that fluoride, because the blood-brain barrier is not in effect for the pineal gland, anything that's in your bloodstream can go in there. And if there's fluoride in your bloodstream, it attaches to these crystals that are very important to the pineal gland's function. And ultimately, you get this thing that looks like a bony lump on an X-ray. It's actually calcified pineal gland. So did he ever talk about the calcified pineal gland?
He talked about our government suppressing the pineal gland for very good reason. And if you ever really wanted to control our type of being and our population, that's the first way to do it. That's the first thing you're going to attack. And it's not been in recent years. The pineal gland has been under suppression for hundreds of years.
Corey, are there any strategies that can be done to fight back against this pineal gland calcification?
Well, yeah, a lot of people have changed their diets, what type of water they intake, and doing a lot of meditation, helps. But mainly it comes from, taking care of your temple and being very guarded about what goes into it.
So distilled water occasionally would help to decalcify?
Yes, that's what I've heard.
Okay. Now, Heather, you also mentioned that your father and his buddies said that we could change the atmosphere. Well, what exactly does that mean?